to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, that then takes us to item F, adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion?
That's pretty quick.
The student presentation first, is that okay? It was actually,
Goodness.
no problem.
How could I miss that? Yes, sorry about that, Ms. Member Hernandez. We need to do our fabulous student presentation. So excited for this. Dr. Holman?
Oh, President Behringer, thanks so very much. I know you know about this, and I know you are looking forward to it as much as I am, all the board members and all the staff members and the millions of individuals tuning in to this board meeting in cyberspace. Again, I will tell you, our mission statement is ensuring endless possibilities for all students through high levels of learning. And that takes many forms. Tonight, I think we're going to be able to see great examples of it, times 10, right? 10 times over, we're going to see some of the best examples of that notion of kids being successful at the highest of levels. But what I'm bringing forward to all of you is a new award. Selfishly, it's called the Superintendent's Honor Roll. Selfishly, because I love being connected to outstanding students. So I guess I took the liberty to call it the Superintendent's Honor Roll. It's a new award, and you might be wondering that, about what it is, why we're doing it, and so forth. So we have with us here tonight just some wonderful guests. We have 10 students from Serrano High School who are going to be awarded the Superintendent's Honor Roll for the first time ever, because it is a new award. Their families are with us here tonight too, and so we have a presentation just to give you an overview, whereby I'll tell you about the award itself. You can see Alan Miller's putting up the presentation. Just a few slides, I'll go through those very quickly. And then we've got also with us Dr. Willie Jones, who's got some words about all of these 10 outstanding students and their families that I'll share. And then I'll be able to share some time with those 10 students. They're prepared with the probably easiest questions that they've ever answered in their lives, but powerful ones that we're going to all want to hear about. And then we'll be able to talk in the very end about what we'll do moving forward to honor these kids. And so really, with the permission of the board, I'd love to move forward if that's okay.
Yes.
With this presentation. I will just give apologies that I do have this mask on. I give apologies for COVID-19. If I could control that, we would be all together, but we can't. And so at this stage, we're doing the next best thing, and that is celebrating these kids. You see, it's called the Superintendent's Honor Roll. And Alan, thank you for doing my work here with this presentation. If we can go to the next stage, I told you I'm going to have a question and answer session with the kids, but selfishly, I'm going to have a question and answer session with myself. and here it is. You might wonder, what is this? You can see up there what the Superintendent's Honor Roll is. It's this opportunity for us to celebrate these 10 kids who over the last 3 years, grades 9, 10, 11, have gotten the highest grade possible in each and every single one of those classes. So I just want to repeat, again, an A is the highest grade, whether it be honors, AP, or regular classes. They have all gotten A grades in every single class for the last 3 years. And I'm going to predict, given their greatness, they're going to continue doing that. But this award is from grades 9 through 11 for the reasons that I just mentioned. And Alan, as you go to the next slide, I want to bring attention to why, right, is my question to myself. And it's really, it's because, one, we should be recognizing, like we do in PBIS, right? We want to recognize desired behavior. And boy, don't we desire kids to be successful in the classroom? We absolutely do. So I think that's a major reason, but also this notion of kids reaching the highest level possible on a consistent, regular, every single time basis. I think that's what really resonated for me in terms of bringing this award forward. And then on the next slide, Alan, thank you for doing, again, this good work here. Why are we doing it now? Because I would really think that there's a valid question. Ryan, why aren't you waiting until the end of the senior year? And here's really where our passion, you see it led us here. This is where collectively, us as a smaller group I'll mention later said, you know what, let's do it now, because what we'll be able to do is to share with these kids their greatness now so that they can leverage this award. They can leverage it for their applications, whether that be to their schools, whether that be to work. so they can put it on their resumes, right? To do it right now so that they can be as recognized, as competitive as possible. Notice I didn't put Ryan Holman's name attached to it because that would make it look competitive, right? But it does say superintendent's honor roll. And I think because we can recognize them now, they're right in the throes of those the application process, and they can be rewarded for their hard work right now and just show the world, hey, look at me. And let's be honest, it's going to continue, right? But they can put it on their applications. And Alan, if we can go to this next slide here, sometimes it's about swag, right? What are they going to get? And I think they need to get a lot out of this. And I think there are three powerful things. They're going to get a wonderful certificate, right, that we're going to give to them. And I'll talk about when in just a moment. And also a special superintendent's honor roll graduation cord. My wonderful executive assistant here, Nancy, you can see her walking up. Here's an example of that. What we're going to have on that cord is every color from every high school. Toronto High School is blue and gold, so we're going to have one color from Toronto High School, which will be blue, and then also the three other high schools, right? Snowline Academy, Eagle Summit Community Day School, as well as Chaparral High School. So those four threads will be woven together so that they can get that graduation cord, wear it at graduation. We're going to think very positively about our conditions, and we're going to be celebrating together, right, as that comes forward, and then really show off something that's very unique that they've clearly earned. But I think probably most importantly, let's be honest, the admiration of millions of people. You heard me earlier. I haven't heard what the numbers are so far about the people tuning in, but I'm hoping it's millions of people because they deserve it, right? And they deserve, of course, the admiration, to say the least. And so, Alan, if we go to the next slide here, I want to take a quick time out because it's really time to celebrate them. It's not about me, it's about them. Dr. Jones, can I ask you to open up your microphone? And before I go on to continue the celebration and recognize some other groups, I'd like you to share your quick thoughts about these 10 students. You know them better than I do. And please share with us your wonderful thoughts about, again, these 10.
Well, what a powerful moment to honor these students. Thank you for this opportunity, the board, community, parents, and the students. In talking with them earlier last week, it was evident that they knew their purpose. They knew where they were going to go as we talked and discussed this prestigious accomplishment. Let me say that it's lost due to COVID-19 that we get to know these students for what, not only their age, but also what they're interested in after they get done with high school. We have musicians, we have medical practitioners, we have doctors, and then just their personalities as they go through this process and their resiliency with standing strong on their academics and being exceptional inside the classroom is amazing. And so we want to recognize them tonight. We appreciate your efforts in being resilient and being overcomers despite the changes in this year. And on behalf of Toronto High School and the many staff that are listening in on this call to this board meeting, we honor you and recognize you tonight. And we want you to know that we support you wherever you are and whatever you do during this time. And remember that please do not hesitate to call us as we take next steps in preparing for college or whatever your endeavors are going to be. So thank you, and I turn it back to Dr. Holmes.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Jones. And I just want to capitalize on what you said. And these 10 students have been impacted by many. Certainly, first and foremost, the parents, guardians, family members, thank you. We don't take that lightly. Parents, you are your students' first and most important teachers throughout their lives. Thank you for what you have done, what you will do, and what you will always do moving forward. We just so admire that, appreciate that. We know that you're part of this celebration. I also want to capitalize on what Dr. Jones said about the teachers at Toronto High School, but throughout the district. I mean, we're talking about dozens and dozens of teachers who touched the lives of these students, who were part of making this outcome occur. And so I'm so appreciative of the teachers and all the other staff members, again, dozens and dozens and dozens who touched the lives of these kids in ways not just in the classroom, but beyond, that lead to their success, this perfect success, if you will, at the high school level. academically. And so I'm just so appreciative of all of them. Thank you again to Dr. Jones and his administrative staff and assistant principals, Lisa Hansen and Andrea Morrison, who helped me with this. And certainly Michelle Scribner, who was instrumental in this as a counselor. And also Chad Brooks, the principal of the non-traditional schools, who's involved in this as well. We're just so very appreciative of ourselves getting to this place to celebrate. Let's be honest, it's about the kids. And so here's what we're going to do. There are 10 of them, one of whom who I know for sure cannot be with us tonight, but I'll still talk about him. But as I get to each one, I'll call the name and ask them to open up the microphone and answer 2 questions. Those questions have already been provided to them. What do they plan to do after they graduate, right? College, military, technical training, a job. And where do they plan to do that as they study and work on whatever they may tell us that they're going to be doing? And so those are the questions. They're prepared like they always are. Those are, like I said, probably 2 of the easiest questions that they answer at this stage in their lives, given how accomplished that they are. But you probably are saying, Ryan, who are those people? And so, Alan, can you just turn the slide to the last slide here? Because this is really what it's about. Here they are. And before we go to the question session, let me just read these 10 names here. Charlotte Brenizer, Lynn Kai, Kira Espinosa, Hannah Hayes, Kimberlyn Heiner, Thomas Lawson, Tay Lee, Joshua Schindler, Leighton Steinman, and last but certainly not least, Valerie Zerdy. There are your 10 who, again, have gotten nothing other than the highest grade in every single class during high school to date. Yes, they deserve every ovation there and then some. But now I want to go to what I think will be our favorite part here. And Charlotte, if you would be so kind to open up your microphone right now, and would love to hear from you. Charlotte, are you out there?
Hi.
Charlotte, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. I'd like to.
Great. It's, Charlotte, I've known you since you were in kindergarten, and I know it's no surprise to me that here you are as a 12th grader with A's all the way along that journey, I'm sure, in middle school and elementary school. So great to see our mom and dad with you.
Yeah, they're here.
Hey, Ryan, how are you?
Hi, Ryan. We're right here.
Love it.
She's looking for references, so maybe you could write her a letter.
Hey, we'll certainly talk afterward. Hey, so Charlotte and mom and dad, congratulations. Charlotte, you are welcome. Charlotte, to you, how about if you just start us off? You're going to be the model for the others, right? Answer those 2 questions if you don't mind. What are your plans beyond your senior year? Can you tell us about those?
Yeah, I'm planning on becoming a psychiatrist.
That is just outstanding. And Charlotte, are you in the process then? That would make me feel like you're going to go to college, right? So are you in the process of applying to schools right now?
Yeah, I already applied to my first school this weekend. I applied to Stanford Early Action.
Oh, love hearing that. And Charlotte, do you have a desired school? Is that the one? Is that the number 1 on the list, or is there another one?
Either that one or Berkeley. I'd really love to go to Berkeley. I'm going to apply to a few more UCs, and then maybe if that doesn't work out, then I'll go to BBC for a few years.
Somehow, Charlotte, I think you're going to have a lot of options, to say the least. A lot of options. And for now, Charlotte, the last question, are you going to put superintendent's honor roll on your application?
I already did.
All right. Well, in all seriousness, Charlotte, thank you so much for being a wonderful model, not just to, those who are tuning in, but all the time. Congratulations. Hey, can I just have a huge round of applause for Charlotte Brenizer? Next up is Lynn Kai. Lynn, are you out there?
Yes, hello.
Hi, Lynn. How are you today?
I'm pretty good.
Oh, I'm so glad. Congratulations to you, just like Charlotte. That's so wonderful. Do you have anyone here in the background?
No, my mom's a little shy.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I hope you know, Lynn, that's okay. You are more than enough because you earned it, right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Lynn, will you tell us what your plans are? Where do you plan to go and what do you plan to do?
I think I want to pursue a mechanical engineering degree at UCSD.
Well, I'll tell you, I love that choice of school. For some reason, that seems to fit me well because that's where I did my undergraduate work. So if I could get you in, I would, but you don't need any help, I'll tell you that. So that's for sure. So that is so great to hear. And will you be applying anywhere else, or is it UCSD or bust?
Just all the UCs, whoever will take me, you know.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I think it's going to take you to just tremendous heights. So congratulations, Lynn. So very much appreciate your hard work and look forward to you becoming a Triton. Okay. Just learn how to do this. Okay. That's the Triton symbol. All right. Let's hear a huge round of applause for Lynn Kai, everybody. Next up is Kira Espinosa. Kira, I think you're there, aren't you?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Kira. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thanks. Who's with you?
My dad and my mom.
Well, hello, Mom and Dad. How are you?
Fine, how are you doing?
Oh, great to see you. We're doing well out here. I can just tell from here how proud you are of Kira. Thanks for your great support of her and being great examples to all of us who are parents. How about your answers to those questions? What are you going to do next, and where are you going to go to do that?
I want to specialize in pediatrics, so I'm going to go into the medical field, and I'm planning on applying to like UCLA and some other UC schools and Johns Hopkins, but I'm not like so positive where I officially want to go.
Oh boy, wonderful universities all, and I would have to say that they would all be very lucky to have you for sure. So I will expect a lot of choices coming your way, given your success for certain. So Kira, thanks so very much for sharing what you have. Please hang in here with us, but before we have you turn off the mic, let's hear a huge round of applause for Kira Espinosa. Thank you, Kira. Our next person, number 4 on this list, is Hannah Hayes. Hannah, are you with us?
Yes. Hi, Dr. Holman.
Hi, Hannah. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, thank you.
Yeah, it's so great to see you. And who's with you there? My eyes are getting old. It's hard for me to see.
Hi, Dr. Holman. How are you doing?
I'm doing so well. Great to see both of you. Thanks for all of your hard work and supporting Hannah. I'm sure you're so proud. Is that right?
Yes, very, very much. Thank you, guys. And I want to say hi to Mr. Zimmerman and Dr. Jones as well. Thank you for your guys' support.
You did a great job of saying hi and saying that. Thanks so very much for doing that. Hannah, it's a pleasure to have you like all of you here. How about for you, Hannah? Can you tell us your plans and where you might be going to fulfill those plans?
Well, I'm hoping to major in mathematical economics. And I think MIT is my dream school. I'm applying early action for that. And I would love to go to some UC schools as well. I'm applying to San Diego and Berkeley.
Wow, so impressive, Hannah. Like all of your predecessors there, just so great to hear. And I can just tell that you're ready for that next step because you've just put forth so much effort like the others. Very impressive. Gosh, may I have a huge round of applause right now for Hannah Hayes. Hannah. Thanks, Hannah. Hang on like the rest of us here because we've got a little bit at the very end, but we've got to keep moving on to all your other great peers and classmates. And our next one is Kimberlyn Heiner. Kimberlyn, are you out there?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Kimberlyn. And I can see Mom there. Hi, Mom. Is Dad kind of in the picture too?
Yes, he's on. He's not here at home, but he's on Zoom in another location. Watching
right on.
somewhere.
Well, hello to Mom and Dad. We know them. We certainly appreciate them like all our parents. And I'm certain, I see you, Mom, got to be so proud, right?
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, so thanks. If people recognize her, she's done some great work for us, substituting and supporting our system here. So thanks so very much for doing that. It's great to see you here. And Mr. Heiner. But Kimberlyn, this is about you, right? And all the great things you've done to earn this superintendent's honor roll. So Kimberlyn, how about your plans and where you're going to go to fulfill those plans after your senior year?
Well, I definitely am planning on going to college. I'm not really sure what I want to be or major in,
But I have been applying to colleges in California, Utah, and Arizona, and I'm not really sure where I want to go yet, but I'm trying to keep my options open.
Yeah, I think that is just totally fine, right? At this stage, totally fine. I love the word that you used, options. And just for what it's worth, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. So I'm working on it too. So you got a long time there if you're going to keep on my pace for certain. But honestly, I really believe that is just a wonderful answer, and you will have a ton of options given what I know about you and what you've accomplished. So excited and so glad to hear that you're going to be applying to a lot of colleges. So congratulations to you for sure, Kimberlyn. And I hear a huge round of applause for another wonderful student, Kimberlyn Heiner. Way to go, Kimberlyn. Next up, it gets us to the second half of these wonderful people, and it's Thomas Lawson. Thomas, are you out there? Maybe not. Hi, Thomas. Can you hear me? Are you out there?
Hey, Ryan, I don't see him in here.
Yeah, and he's one of the ones I know best, so I wouldn't blame him because he's probably like, I know Ryan well enough. I don't want to be here, right? But maybe he'll be here a little bit later. We'll come back to him. So thanks so very much. And I just want to check in just to make sure. Taylor reached out to me and he thought he wouldn't be able to attend, but I want to make sure, Robert, make sure I can't see everybody. Is Taylor with us? Do you see him, Robert?
Yeah, I don't see him.
Yeah, I don't see him either, Ryan. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. He did reach out and he said he wouldn't be able to attend. But again, I'll check on Thomas at the end. But to Taylor, I just want to say, like the others, tremendous student who has done some tremendous things from a long distance. I will just share that with you. And just so impressed about his perseverance really stands out to me relative to Tay. So Tay, if in fact you listen to this recording, please know how much you're appreciated, not just by me, but by everybody here in Snowline for your dedication to doing what you've done consistently, and that's get those A's, the highest grade, and perform at the highest level. So, and I have a huge round of applause for Tay Lee. Our next student is, I believe, a Cubs fan for sure, as we look at his icon there, but he's also much more than that. Joshua Schindler. Joshua, are you out there?
Yeah, hello.
Hi, Joshua. How are you tonight?
Good, thank you.
Oh, it's great to see you here. And are you a Cubs fan, first of all?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, member Funk, do you have any comments about that?
Yes. Next year's our year.
Yeah, you have one huge Cubs fan who's right there with you in member Kenny Funk. He loves him just like you do, it sounds like. But Joshua, clearly I can say you love success because you keep doing it, right? Joshua, congratulations to you. Do you have anyone in there? I just want to make sure I can say hi to anyone who might be joining you.
Yeah, my mom and my dad are here.
Oh, they're humble, it looks like. Hi, Mom and Dad. How are you?
Good. How are you?
They're doing really well. Congratulations. And like I've said before, just so appreciate your ongoing support. I'm going to guess, is this accurate? Very proud of your son?
Yes,
definitely.
I bet. And I bet when we hear this, we're going to be all very proud, even more so than we already are. Joshua, can you tell us what your next steps are and where you really hope to and plan to go to accomplish those next steps?
Well, I'm hoping to go to college at either like UCI or San Diego State for business administration or finance.
Boy, I love hearing that. And can you solve the global-wide financial crisis once you get done?
No.
Don't sell yourself short there, Joshua. I bet you'll be able to help us old adults out there by the time you get done with that. But very impressive for sure, Joshua. I hope, are you looking forward to that experience?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you are. Well, Joshua, thank you for, like all the others, coming here tonight. We really appreciate that. Please hang on. But before you close that mic, let's hear a huge round of applause for Joshua Schindler. Next on our list is Leighton Steinman. Leighton, are you out there?
Yes,
Leighton, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Yeah, Leighton has the very probably unfortunate distinction to have known me since birth. So my apologies for that, Leighton. You had to put up with me so long. But it's so great to see, you as you get close to your 18th birthday and all the greatness that you've done. This award's about perfection. If you know Leighton, obviously he has all A's like he's always done. But I think Leighton too's perfect out on the football field. He's a quarterback, and I don't know if I've ever seen you throw an incomplete pass. Have you, Leighton?
I have thrown many of those.
Well, I guess I've just never seen it, there, Leighton. But great to see you. I think I see your mom. Hi, Mom. How are you?
Hi, Dr. Holman. How are you?
It's great to see you. I'm doing really well. That's Michelle Steinman, who for many years has just been one of many outstanding employees who've supported people like Leighton as a counselor here in our school district. So great to see you, Michelle.
Thank
you. And is your dad around there too?
Dad's in the room listening in.
I know he knows me well, so yeah, I don't blame him for not being in the picture. He's seen enough of me, right? But Leighton, this is about you, my friend, about you for sure. Hey, Leighton, talk to us about your plans, right? When we think about your next steps, where do you want to go? And can you tell us what you want to do once you get there?
So I will be attending college and going to go the pre-med route. So going to major in biology, most likely. And same as Charlotte, I applied early action to Stanford. That's my #1 option. And other than that, might be applying to a few UCs, maybe some other schools across the country. So we'll see. I'm not too sure where I'll be going to college. But
yeah, boy, what a bunch of just outstanding options you have in front of yourself. I don't think any of us will be surprised like the others if you get into all of them. Leighton, certainly been a pleasure again knowing you, watching you grow up, and it doesn't surprise me that you're here, right, with that perfect record. Congratulations. Can I have a huge round of applause for Leighton Steinman? Thank you, Leighton and family. We really appreciate that. And I think maybe, we've got 2 more to go because I think maybe someone checked in here, and that would be Thomas Lawson. But before we go there, I want to make sure, let's go to our last on our list, but certainly not the least by any stretch, Valerie Zerdy. Valerie, are you out there?
Yeah, hello.
Hi, Valerie. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Oh, gosh, love the attitude. It's always great like that from what I know about you. And Valerie, can you tell us who's with you?
Mom, stepdad, here we are.
Oh, gosh. Hi, Mom and Stepdad. How are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Doing good.
Oh, I'm doing really well, thanks. And I bet you're very proud, right, of Valerie, not just today, but all the time. Is that right?
Absolutely. Super proud of her. She works very hard.
Amen. That is the truth. Yeah, that is great. Valerie, you do work hard, and that hard work is going to pay off in these next steps. Can you talk about where you want to go and what you want to do?
So I want to be a musician. I want to major in horn performance and play in major orchestras like the LA Phil. And I've been applying to a lot of colleges. I've been applying to a lot along the coast in Oregon and Washington. And I applied to Oberlin Conservatory in Utah, or not in Utah, in Ohio. So that's cool.
Boy, that is wonderful. And Valerie, if you don't mind, after you're done, what would you want to do with that musical degree and experience and expertise?
It's always been a dream of mine to play in the LA Phil. So if I can do that, that would be awesome. But I would also love to play for movies and be in an orchestra that gets to create music for all different sorts of movies.
Oh, I love hearing about the LA Philharmonic, which you said originally, but also those other steps. I love that. That is so cool, Valerie. Congratulations to you, not just on this award, but really in those plans for next steps. That just sounds so cool. Valerie, before you leave us here, can you please stay with us and hear a huge round of applause for Valerie Zerdy. Hey, and then I want to check in and see if Thomas Lawson's with us, because I think his mom's with us. Thomas, are you with us?
Yes, we are here.
Hi, Thomas. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing really well. It's so great to see you. Another one of these many students who I've known for a long time. So I've had the luxury of knowing how great he is for a long time in so many ways. He's an excellent student. He's really, I'm going to call you a professional mountain biker. Am I able to call you that? Is that okay?
Not quite yet.
Yeah, I feel like you got the skills for it though, for sure. And you'll be there soon, right, Thomas? If you so choose. And that's really what I want to talk about. But beforehand, it's great to see, I think I see Mom in there. How are you, Mom?
Hi, good, thank you.
Great to see you. And was Dad able to make it?
He's not home yet.
Okay, well, wish him well. Gene, I know how, I'm sure you're super proud of Thomas, right?
Oh, we are. We're very proud of him.
Yeah, and we're also very happy you moved back here too. So thanks for moving away and then coming back. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We can celebrate you guys here, right? For
Thank
sure. We love having you back in the community in many ways, right? One of which is Thomas. Hey, Thomas, talk to us. Next steps. What do you want to do next, and where do you want to go?
I really don't know much. I mean, I've applied to some places, and I think I'm maybe going to do engineering, but I really haven't quite made those decisions yet.
Yeah, but what's so wonderful is you have the ability because of so many options to be able to say that. That's so powerful, right? You've got so much ahead of you, and I don't say lightly about your mountain biking skills. I think they're at a really high level too, and so performing so well in so many ways, Thomas. Be really proud of yourself for certain. And,
Thank you.
And I know no matter what you do, you're going to be successful. Do you feel that same way?
I hope so.
Yeah. And Thomas, be honest for every teenager on the face of the earth. You get tired of us adults saying, what are you going to do when you graduate?
Yes, absolutely. Some people know what they're doing, but I have no idea, and asking me isn't going to help.
Yeah, amen, Thomas. I appreciate you being such a kind soul, and I hopefully you heard me. Maybe you didn't hear me earlier. I just want to reiterate that is a totally okay answer in my belief, because you've got so many options available. We were mentioning that earlier amongst one of your peers. It is totally a fine answer because you've got, again, such a wonderful future. It's back to, if I may, I also said, our mission statement is really about, making sure that you guys have endless possibilities for all students. And that's what you have, Thomas, and so too do the others. So can I have a huge round of applause for Thomas Lawson?
Thank you so much.
And so before I turn it back over to you, President Behringer, I would just say, thank you, first of all, for indulging me and allowing me to celebrate these 10 students here. I will tell you, I couldn't be prouder of not just the ones who I've known since birth, but really all of them. I've known, many of them, but all of them are our students, and they are just such wonderful representations of what we want from them academically, but also, in their character. And so I'm just so very honored to be able to share with all of you these superintendent's honor roll winners. And I'll say this, while we can give you the certificate and the graduation cord, in the mail, I want to hold on to those if you don't mind, because here is my goal. I would love for COVID-19 to go away enough such that in the coming months, we can get you back to school and we can get a photo op in here so we can have all of us together to ensure that we can commemorate this wonderful group of 10. And so I hope all of you can bear with me in that patience there. I'll make certain that you get the cords before graduation, because I would love to see you out there wearing those cords, and certainly you'll get that certificate. But with that, again, congratulations to all 10, all the families, all the staff members across the system who make this happen. It's just my honor to be witness to all of this. President Behringer, back to you.
Well, thank you so much, and congratulations to all of you. That's a terrific accomplishment, and you just have a very promising future, and we wish you well. It's fantastic. And I don't doubt that you have homework to do or something to work on, so feel free to move on. We will be continuing with our meeting, but thank you for participating tonight. That was wonderful.
Yeah, one more round of applause. Yay! Everyone. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
And that then takes us to the adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion?
I move we accept the agenda as is.
And a second.
I'll second.
I believe that was a second by Member Colon.
Yeah, it was.
And we will go with a roll call vote. Member Hernandez?
Aye.
Member Colon?
Aye.
Member Funk?
Aye.
And Christina Berenger votes aye, so the motion passes. And that then takes us to the, community comments. Do we have community comments?
Yes, President Berenger, we do. We have one community comment from student Brianna Ponce. Brianna says, I am a Serrano student in 10th grade. This year has been very stressful for us students as well as everyone else. But as a student, I feel that there is a heavy workload from all of our classes and it is affecting us. I have always been a straight A student and never had missing assignments, but it is very hard for me to get straight A's this school year because of the amount of work all the teachers are giving us. It's too much for us students to handle and to complete on time. And sometimes the teachers might not give us a lot of assignments, but the ones that they do give us take a long time to complete. This is bringing down our grades, and I'm afraid if we keep receiving the amount of work we are getting right now, that by the end of both semesters, our grades will be very low, greatly affected, not allowing me and students with similar goals to reach them. Apart from the work being too much and not being able to turn them in on time, we are also not learning anything. Since the workload we have is so much, we prioritize getting the most amount of assignments in on time and not the fact that we have to learn. I do hope that we can find a good solution to this that will satisfy both students and teachers. And for me personally, the problem is not emotional. It is a heavy workload. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you for that comment. And Dr. Holman will be presenting, so stay with us, stay tuned for the update. And that then takes us to the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
I'll motion for the consent agenda to be approved as presented.
Thank you, Member Hernandez. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Very good. And with a roll call vote, Member Hernandez?
Aye.
And Member Colon?
Aye.
Member Funk?
Aye.
And Christina Berenger votes aye, so the motion passes. We have approved the minutes of the regular meeting by teleconference of October 13th, 2020 of the Snowline Joint Unified School District Board of Trustees. The personnel motions, resolution number 21-1475, authorizing remuneration for a board member. The revision of the Desert Mountain SELPA Local Education Agency Plan and Assurance Statement for 2021 year. And the Memorandum of Understanding number 2021-0262 between Snowline and San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools for Quality Counts California and California State Preschool Program Workforce Pathways Participation, and the Snowline Non-Traditional Schools Single Plans for Student Achievement for 2021 school year, and the District Financial Transactions, which then takes us to item I1. Mr. Miller?
Yes, thank you, President Berenger. Before you, as far as the attachment is concerned, I have presented with you the 2021 Learning Continuity and Attendance Plan recommendations per the San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools. I want to thank you for all of your support during this long process, which has been both beneficial and very reflective for all of us as a school district as we navigate the COVID-19 season. as you have probably read through those recommendations, many of them were very minor, and we took care of those, or we were prepared to take care of those. I put them in another draft of the LCNAP, and then we had a couple of items that were a little greater length at the end regarding tying those specific goals and actions with our budget, and particularly how we are directly supporting our unduplicated students, being our English language learners, our foster youth, and our low socioeconomic students. And we did a lot of work in creating those narratives so they're more robust and much more specific in those extra layers of support that we are offering to those specific student groups. So with that being said, if there are no other questions, I just would respectfully request you to approve the changes as recommended by the county so that then we can include them in a new copy of the LCNAP and get that sent off by Friday. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you very much for all of your work on the LCNAP. Is there a motion?
I'll motion for the amended LCNAP to be approved.
Thank you, Member Hernandez. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Member Colom. Any discussion?
Great work on this. Looks like a lot of work went into this, so much appreciated.
Absolutely. There being no further discussion, we'll take a roll call vote, beginning with Member Hernandez.
Aye.
Member Colom.
Aye.
Member Funk.
Aye.
And Christina Berenger votes aye. The motion passes. Thank you very much for that. And that takes us then to item J1. Dr. Holman.
Yeah, thank you, President Barringer. Before we go on to J1 as is written, I'd like to have another J1 if that doesn't create a problem. So really ask you and the board, based on this information, subsequent to the posting of the agenda, an urgent matter has come to our attention that we feel the need to obviously pursue. The Brown Act allows us to do that, given that if we have 2/3 of you, in this case, we have 4 board members. Member Nielsen's unable to attend tonight. We have 3 of the 4 board members who are so willing to agendize a resolution that I'll talk about in just a moment. It's been made available to those of us who are here together, physically separated, of course, but with our protective or PPE on, I should say. I will share with you that resolution is for us to be able to bypass the bid process to address safety concerns at a given site. So now you might say, well, what is that? The issue at hand here is at Baldy Mesa Elementary School, credit to the staff members, most recently found a couple small structural challenges underneath the awnings, if you will, on the overhangs of the buildings there. In fact, in one case, we had some debris fall from that. And so I'm going to ask Robert Chacon to speak to that, the issues, where we are, and why this is an urgent matter. And then after he's done, I'll take ourselves through that process again, because the Brown Act does allow for us to agendize and then hopefully approve that resolution. But you need to know about the story. And so, Robert, can you share with the board members what you, Rick Dawson, and all the other staff members who've been working real hard with the staff members across the system, really, to be quite frank, to ensure the safety of Baldy Mesa Elementary School. Robert?
Yeah, thanks, Ryan, and thank you, board, for giving us the opportunity to talk about this today. So about a week and a half ago, we had a pretty significant safety issue take place at Baldy Mesa. I'm just going to share my screen here with you, because I feel like a picture is worth 1,000 words in this instance. So give me 1 second here. All right. So this is the southeast building. Can you guys see the photo?
No.
Not quite yet, Robert.
It's It's on, if it's on your other screen, Robert.
No, I'm on my laptop today, actually.
Oh.
Huh. Give me one sec, guys. Don't know why it's not sharing.
Hey, Robert, just if you don't mind, just tell me when you're ready, okay? Because I'm just going to talk Brown Act right now. That's okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Ryan. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, give you some time, take some pressure off too, right?
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no
Silent
worries.
watching you, right?
Yeah.
So again, relative to the Brown Act, as I just mentioned, subsequent to posting the agenda, an urgent matter, where I think we'll share with you why this is urgent. If 3 out of the 4 of you, if not more, say that you'd like to agendize it, then it can be put up for approval. And the approval would be of a resolution to San Bernardino County Superintendent of School, and specific to allowing us to adopt the resolution, which then allows us to move forward with bypassing the bid process and slowing down the repair work that we're going to be talking about. We feel like, again, the urgency, let's get this repaired as soon as possible. And
yeah, I will. You know why? Because it was a PowerPoint, but PowerPoint should be.
Yeah, I think he's talking. I'm sorry, I thought he was talking to me. So again, after we see this, and even if we can't get up the picture, I mean, Robert will paint the picture very well to share with all of you that would say we need to get this done right away. And so then again, why the resolution? This resolution is what's used, particularly in COVID-19 times. It's not uncommon for this to occur throughout these times. In this instance, I would say we would do it whether COVID-19 or not. This template comes to us from the county, that you have that resolution. And then again, as you see the second half of it, it talks about bypassing the codes that are typically required for bid process, but that'll significantly slow down that situation. So that's what we'll ask after this, after we hear the details there. And so, Robert, I know you're trying to work behind the scenes there. Do you want to just talk about it first, and then we can kind of work on the other end, the picture, or you want to still wait for that picture?
Yeah, no problem. Here, I'm gonna shoot it over to Alan right now. Alan, I'm sending it your way. I got a lot of stuff running on my machine here, so I'm messing up.
Yeah, and Robert, let me fill in that lot of stuff while you do that. Yeah, he's monitoring multiple things: the public comments, as well as the meeting itself, as well as the translation into Spanish. And now we're asking him to share a screen. So Robert, we appreciate you. Juggling all those things. You're doing a great job all the time. So just want to make sure that everyone watching understands how much you are actually doing there. So thank you.
No worries. All right, so I sent it over to Alan. Hopefully Alan gets it. But essentially what happened was about a week and a half ago, we had a large section of stucco fall from the awning of the southeast building of Baldy Mesa Elementary School. So, the awning, it's kind of those overhangs, right? The gabled roofs, kind of gives you a little protection when you're walking close to the building, right? So that overhang, a pretty large section, about a 6 by 12 foot section, came falling down just out of nowhere, and landed on an HVAC unit and completely destroyed the HVAC unit. So the way stucco is constructed, right, there's a lath, there's a chicken wire, right, a wire mesh, and then the stucco is applied to this wire mesh. So this is a really large, heavy piece of concrete, essentially, that fell a good, 20, 25 feet because it was from almost the peak of the gabled roof. So when that happened, we immediately called our insurance carrier. They sent out a claims adjuster, and Rick Dawson and his crew, they essentially ended up walking the entire school site. And so here we are. Here's that southeast building. That square, that yellow square, that is where the piece fell from. And Alan, you can go to the next, just present that for me. You can go to the next slide. So that large piece of stucco just fell, just like I said, out of nowhere. I mean, thank God nobody was on site. Kids were not on school. This happened on a late Friday afternoon. So we, immediately cordoned off the area and contacted our insurance carrier. So they came out and they sent a claims adjuster out. We met. We spoke with them. And then we also made contact with a contractor, the same contractor, in fact, that did the work on the Performing Arts Center, both instances when we lost some stucco on the Performing Arts Center a few years ago. I think we had back-to-back years with the Performing Arts Center. And so we contacted that company as well. They are recommended through our property insurance company. They are, vetted vendors and all of that on our approval list. So we contacted them. They came out and did a site walk with us. And we identified several other areas that could potentially have failure as well. So Rick Dawson did some great work rallying his guys. They were able to gather temporary fencing. We cordoned off all the areas where we started to see fatigue in these ceilings. And so we were going back and forth with our insurance carrier and with the contractor for a couple days because this is turning into a pretty big project. And unfortunately, our insurance carrier isn't going to support the entirety of the project. All they are willing to support is just the replacement of this specific piece at Baldy Mesa Elementary School. And so we were trying to work with the contractor, and ultimately they decided that they didn't want to work with us in this project. They felt that the demo process was going to be a little lengthy. They just didn't have the time, manpower, effort to kind of make this happen. So then we reached out to another contractor. This is a contractor that we had used to do some work at Baldy. If you guys recall, we demolished the mobile homes out in the parking lot so we could expand the Baldy Mesa parking lot. So we reached out to them. They were out. They did a site walk. And they are, it sounds like at this point, willing to help us get through this project. So this is a couple phase project, we think. Right now, our first and foremost priority is safety, right? So what we want to do is we want to be able to go in and demo all of the stucco that we can already tell that is fatigued, that is sagging. So there are several areas where that is taking place, mostly on the gabled ends of the permanent buildings. So those big peaks on our brick buildings, those big large sections of stucco, we see significant cracks and some sagging already in a lot of those areas. So our plan would be to go in and demo all of that stucco before any more stucco can fall. So that's the kind of first step in this process. So this resolution would really give us the ability to just go in and get this work done as soon as possible to kind of alleviate any of those safety issues and concerns that we may have. Now, the second part would be, okay, what do we replace it with? What does that look like? I'll be quite honest with the group, we're not there yet. I think we're most concerned about the safety of our staff and kids. And like I said, getting the stucco demoed as soon as possible. So in lieu of all that, we have also reached out to the architect who originally designed Baldy Mesa Elementary School back in 1987. And my first question was this installed properly to begin with? This is a pretty strange failure. To be honest, I've never seen this. Rick Dawson has never seen this as well. So my first question is, was it done right? We went through our plan room. We pulled our plans that we have, and they are an incomplete set. They don't have the attachment detail specific for these gables, and they don't show the attachment detail for the stucco to these rafters. So we reached out to the architects, and we've requested a full set from them. Back in '87, they actually didn't have attachment details in their plans. It was a separate kind of like book that kind of specifically talked about these types of specifics. And so we requested that info from our architects, and they're going through their archives to see if they could help provide those details for us. So if in fact it was done correctly and it's just a fluke failure, we're going to still go through. I still don't feel comfortable with allowing that stucco to remain, especially with all the fatigue that we're already seeing in it. So I still recommend that we go through and demo the gabled ends. Now there is a difference between the gabled end of the building and the overhangs that are over, our classroom doors and some of our breezeways and walkways. They're constructed entirely different. Rick Dawson and myself and Steve Conrad, vice principal there at Baldy, we were up in those crawl spaces this morning, actually. So I had to, change my shirt and brush my hair again this morning for our meeting, because we were up in those crawl spaces looking at how all those attached, how all the stucco is attached to those areas. So the construction's entirely different. That's I-beam construction, and the 2x4s are 16 inches on center as opposed to, 12 inches on center as opposed to what these are in the gabled 16, 18 inches on center, which is just really strange to all of us, considering they're holding so much weight. So at this point, we're looking to, move rather quickly with the contractor to get the demo work complete. And then once that demo work is complete, then we can go back and maybe look at, possibly work in the summertime to either replacing or not replacing, depending on what is up there and what we decide to do, that stucco. But first and foremost, we need to get our campus safe and get that stuff down off our gabled ends.
Yeah, thanks so much, Robert. So maybe first of all, any questions, Robert, in terms of that, in terms of what has transpired, what we've done to ensure safety right now, cordoning off and things of that sort, and any others before we go on to the next step with the Brown Act and how we can move forward?
I do have a question as to what caused this to drop.
Yeah, so we honestly don't know. And there's several other areas that have cracks and that are showing fatigue. We don't know. There doesn't look like there was any water damage up there. We don't know if it was done correctly in the first place. I think that's where I need to start. And once we get an attachment detail, we can see if the work was even done properly to begin with. But it's really, like I said, we've talked to several contractors and our claims adjusters, and it's just it was just a fluke accident, and no one could really give us any details on why or how. But to me, the key is going to be looking at those plans in the attachment detail.
You indicated that there are other potential areas where there are fractures.
Yes, that's correct. And we've cordoned off all of those areas with temporary fencing.
Okay, so the plan is to reconstruct it.
Well, the plan right now is just to demolish, just demo, pull all of the stucco off, and to make sure that things are safe. And then I feel we can come back possibly, summertime to actually do, if we want to replace it, we can replace it. Or if we want to go a different route with different material, we can do that. It'll be really hard to replace the material with staff and students on campus. We'd rather turn that into a summer project. So we feel like we could pull all that material down right now, demo it. The school is safe. We're okay. We don't have to cordon off areas. Walkways, thoroughfares are open and accessible. And then we can come back in the summer with phase 2 and potentially replace some of those portions.
I appreciate that information. It is of concern that these are like over doorways and so forth. So people are passing through unknowingly, and we don't know the cause of that for it dropping. So I am all in favor of moving forward with getting that demolished. So are there any other questions? Yes, Member Funk.
Yeah, is there any public accessibility, or is this on the gated side? I mean, we're not in the threat of people climbing through those gates.
Yeah, everything is internal within the school. They would have to jump 2 gates to get there, right? They'd have to jump the perimeter fence and then jump our temporary fence. And it's 6 foot, temporary construction fencing. It's not like we have some, vinyl pop-up fencing up there. You'd have to make a valiant effort to get in there.
Okay.
Member Colon, Member Hernandez, any questions?
Yeah, I've got a few questions. First was, of the locations that you've identified where there's possible future failure, this event caused damage to additional equipment. is there other equipment exposed in those areas? And if there is, have they been removed or protected?
Yeah, so one of the areas, there's a drinking fountain there. One has a clock, and then the other has, there's some chain link fencing that's near. But as far as, large like HVAC equipment, that was the only space. And so we haven't gotten back in there to, we haven't moved any of the debris because we feel like we want the, the contractor to be able to see what it looked like, where it landed, how it happened. So there are, I think there's 3 additional units near where this failed that could potentially be impacted as well.
Okay.
So that's a great recommendation.
Yeah, of course. Did you, with the various contractors you've already had on site, were they able to lend an opinion as to what they believe of the construction method was adequate or up to code of the time? Obviously, code will change over years, but we're still speaking relatively recent and new construction. Do they have any opinion, or have they shared that with you?
Yeah, they have. The code has changed, from 87 to now. The attachment method that was used for that particular construction would not be used nowadays. It'd be different lath, it'd be different nails, it'd be a different attachment, it'd be entirely different. Both contractors both said that to us, but they both weren't familiar with what code may have been in 87. So.
Yeah, from the damage I see, that doesn't look like there's any lath or vacuum to it. Which would have been the failure point, but did they analyze the debris that contained materials that they believe were to code?
So the question really is that is the lath, right? So the difference that code is from now to then is they would have used a thicker, more rigid lath for anything that's overhanging, right? Different attachment as well, and staples, right? Staples would have been longer. So that's definitely different. They were questioning the lath that was used. Was it the right one? Was it not? That was kind of their, gut feeling, initial implication from looking at it was that it may have been the wrong lath. So I think that's why it's super important that we figure out if the right lath was used or not. So.
Have we identified other sites that may have had similar construction methods and reviewed those buildings?
We have not, Marcus. No, that's a really great point, and I think we'll add that to our to-do list.
And I think the final one is, so the request right now is for demolition only. Your scope of work would not include any additional items.
Right now our priority is demo, and to be honest, if we move forward, with replacing it, that's going to be a significant cost, and so we may want to look at alternative, construction materials, and maybe look at something that is even equivalent to what the Performing Arts Center is using. Right, they're using that kind of foam board with a small little thin coat of stucco on it, lightweight, so we may be looking at different construction materials. So at this point, the urgency and the priority is demo.
Okay, and do we have a bid amount yet?
We don't. So our contractor, the demo contractor, he was here on Monday, did a walk around, that was yesterday, right? Yeah, so yesterday, and received plans yesterday as well, so he could start writing his bid. So Rick Dawson's going to be reaching back out to him tomorrow, just to kind of get a feel on where he's at, and we'll kind of go from there.
And I know that the resolution is about bypassing the that bid process, but are you going to receive multiple bids for the same project?
We may. I mean, to me, it depends on timeline, really, and what his number comes back at. If it's this really astronomical number, then obviously, we're going to be looking elsewhere. But at this point, I really think the resolution just gives us that flexibility because there is some urgency with this. It really just gives us that flexibility to kind of hit the ground running.
What do you perceive to be your urgency? Obviously, we are in a non-functioning school environment right now.
Yeah, so we still have staff that is reporting on site, significant staff. We are working on cohorting pieces, and Ryan will be talking a little bit about, kind of next steps in his presentation following this. If we were to go down the bid route, we're looking at several months. We're probably looking at a 4-month project, somewhere around there, to make this happen on the bid process, 3-4 months. So we would much rather have this done, 2 months, to be quite honest, as opposed to a 3-4 month process.
And I know that the formal process is the request for proposal and putting up the work and scope of work, but you are getting quote from one contractor. What prohibits you from calling another contractor tomorrow to see how quickly you can get a bid out to you?
Yeah, we absolutely can do that. We can.
I mean, I would like that. Or if you have a target value that you believe that the work is going to be, if that could be disclosed to us prior to receiving bids, to know that you targeted to be this much, you were this much off, so it's a reasonable estimation. Or what becomes unreasonable if they came back and said $50 million to demolition? Okay, that's what we planned on. That could just be a little unreasonable. So if it's feasible and possible within the few days, to receive at least an additional one bid, I would appreciate that. I do understand the urgency of the matter, and so you don't have any restriction on me from that. But getting multiple bids as quickly as possible would be beneficial.
Sure. Yep, thank you. Good point, Marcus. Thank you.
Thank you.
I agree with that statement.
Yeah, on that note, it may be difficult to find a contractor right now with fire rebuilds. So I appreciate, I don't think we can defer this. But it'd be interesting. I'd like to get as many bids as we can, as quick as we can, of course. But I also understand that it may be difficult just to get a contractor to come off work.
Right. Yeah. And like I said, we're working with, this is the second contractor we've already kind of reached out to. So we can continue to go, down that, road if you'd like.
Absolutely. I just kind of agree.
Yeah.
Navigating the notion of balance, right? We've got a sense of urgency while all the while knowing that you guys
Hey Ryan, we can't hear you, Ryan.
Yeah, super low volume.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I think what I was just saying was what I felt like I heard was the notion of balance, right? How do we maintain that balance between fiscal responsibility and then the notion of timeliness? And I think your points are all well taken. We've heard clearly from you that we'll try to get this notion of bids as quickly as possible, all the while ensuring the safety of an entire learning community for all the reasons you guys just talked about. I mean, great points all for sure. Sorry, Bum.
No, that's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. And obviously, Marcus, if it came back at $1 million, I'd slug the guy. So
Well, yeah.
I get you. Absolutely.
Yeah, I work in the construction business. I've seen some ridiculous bids coming out. So.
Amen. I know.
Do you have a target price for this project?
Man, we've really been struggling with this. Rick and myself, we talked about it today. If I'm a guessing man, it's going to be 150, somewhere around there, I think. It's a significant amount of square footage. It's hard to access in some places, 20, 30 feet up in the air. It's dangerous. It's more dangerous work, right, to kind of demo anything overhead. So I would imagine it's gonna, if I'm a betting man, it's about 150, somewhere around there. And I could be totally off, to be honest with you, Marcus. I mean, I really could, but
you're probably looking at a 5 or 6 man crew, rental equipment to gain access, haul away, of course.
Yeah.
But when you look at it, I would appreciate when in doubt, take it out. I mean, if it looks like it's structurally poor, my advice is I'd rather pay this one time than have to pay the the worst possible case scenario fee.
Yeah, no, we're totally on that same mantra, Kenny. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I really appreciate all of your comments, and that leads us to, if there are any more questions, you know, why we feel like the sense of urgency is here to do something out of the norm, but still, again, you know, it's within the Brown Act, and that is to first and foremost then agendize a resolution that then provide the flexibility to work within those balance measures that you guys talked about to get this project done.
So just one point of order.
Sorry.
If we vote on this, then it doesn't come back tonight. It doesn't come back to this vote again. You can start work and getting bids immediately. That's what I understand.
Yeah, thank you, Member Funk. That's exactly right. Allows us to do just as you said.
Member Colomb, we have not heard from you. Do you have any
Well, I
questions?
No, I just think we need to move forward.
Okay.
I have no questions.
Okay, thank you. The first order of business then is to agendize the resolution. So if I could get a motion to do so
I so move.
and a second,
I'll second.
and the roll call vote beginning with Member Hernandez.
Aye.
Member Colomb,
Aye.
Member Funk,
Aye.
and Christina Berenger votes aye. The next matter of action then is to have a motion for the resolution to approve or not.
I move to approve.
And is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you very much. And roll call vote, Member Hernandez?
Before we take roll call vote, may we have discussion?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Reviewing the resolution as it's presented references much to the COVID-19 issue, and that it is suggesting that supplies are limited or needed, and therefore would the scope of the resolution be too broad as to say that we aren't necessarily looking for simply construction or immediate demolition needs, but rather materials and supplies to purchase district-wide? I question the wording of the resolution.
Yeah, Member Hernandez, I appreciate you bringing that up because, you know, our experience with this really came through, right? Not a lot of experience first and foremost, but also leaning on, right, the county's experience. They've been using this, as I think I mentioned, in the context of COVID-19, has become this template for them, right, to be able to leverage. As we asked them how we could move forward, they submitted this to us. Your point's a good one. Certainly any, you know, references that you want to make, we could, you know, amend, if you will, whatever's needed. But you know, I think, again, we're going by what the directions we got from them specific to trying to do what was described earlier. But the point's a good one.
I guess I have no amendments that I would speak to of this resolution, but as it states that you will return with specific values of dollars spent to this resolution, I would like a very clear accounting of what that is. And if other items are included with that approval, that be disclosed also at that time.
Okay. Is there further discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. So this resolution's just for the deconstruction, right? It's not, we'll still go back and get bids for reconstruction, correct?
Yeah, I think that's really our intention, Robert. I would love to hear from you too, because you outlined it that way. I want to make sure there might be additional details that you can provide Member Funk, the entire board on that.
Yeah, that's specifically all we're doing. The urgency at this point is really the demo, right? Just the demo process. And then once we get that done and completed, like I said, we're not looking for reconstruction probably during the school year, to be honest. We think it'll be too impactful to our staff and potential students. So that's probably something we're looking at down the road, summer, something like that. So at this point, we're really just looking for the demo.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I really appreciate bringing it up because the key word there's urgency, right? And so that's what the resolution deals with, is the urgent work, as you mentioned. And so then we go back into the other process, right, for that work as we move forward as is necessary to and connected to this. So thank you for bringing that up. It's a great point to all.
Okay, so there's a first and a second with no amendments to the presented resolution.
Madam President,
Pardon?
may I present an amended motion?
Yes.
I would like to motion that we approve the resolution number 21-1476 in scope of demolition work only for Baldy Mesa Elementary School.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, so that's a motion. Do we have a second for that motion?
I'd second that.
Okay. And no further discussion. We'll go on a roll call vote. Member Hernandez?
Aye.
Member Colon?
Aye.
Member Funk?
Aye.
And Christina Berenger votes aye. So that motion passes. We then have item J2. Dr. Holman.
That's right, J2, that's J1, right? So thank you very much for your work on that. That's out of the norm, but we really appreciate you keeping safety number one for our learning community here. In the spirit of safety, we're going to talk about the at-home and in-person learning plans. This is the regular update that we give you as our board members at each and every meeting, and that hopefully all the people outside of here who are listening in, who are connecting with our YouTube feed, are seeing it live right now. But I also want to take this time to say that this recording gets posted every single after every single meeting. It's available on our website too. So please feel free to share that with anyone who is wondering, what did you talk about relative to where we are in the learning design? This presentation, as you see right in front of us, that Alan Miller always does so well for us. Thank you for navigating this, Alan. It's always available. So I want to make sure that I made that clear. And so again, tonight we have a number of slides, but you're going to see familiar ones. And I just feel like it's really important that we keep the familiar ones, but then also have the new ones in the update. So it's really that combination. So Alan, as you go to the next slide here, you can see our outcomes. Just make sure we clarify those first and foremost. And those haven't changed, right? This development across our system, hopefully in the learning community of Snowline, but particularly here in this meeting held in public, the shared understanding around what we're doing at home and in-person learnings, as well as how do we do in terms of moving forward, what are we going to commit to in our next steps. And so Alan, as we go to the next few slides here, here's the agenda, what will be the topics of conversation tonight. We're going to be talking about where we're getting our guidance and reinforcing that piece, the current status of education in Snowline, and certainly talk about the monitoring process, reinforce how the rules of the game, if you will, in a COVID-19 environment in San Bernardino County and in California, as well as the data themselves, and then certainly drill down on in-person and our recommendation to all of you at next steps. So those are the items for tonight. Alan, as we go to the next one, thank you. Again, we continue to appreciate the direction we feel like we've heard from you, and certainly we honor and believe in, right? CDC, CDPH, and SVC, DPH, right? The public health departments at the federal, state, and local level are guiding all the time our actions and following those. So Alan, as we go to the next slide, you'll see, again, we have two learning designs in construct, right? In concept that we're following here, the at-home and the in-person. We're at the at-home primarily for the most part. Right now, we'll give the details behind in-person, but remote school and homeschool. And Alan, as we go to the next slide, as everyone knows, very, I think, again, very proud of the fact that we have two at-home learning designs, the homeschool one through Snowline Academy. And then Alan, on the next slide, we have remote school where the kids are connected to their teachers at the given enrollment site throughout the district. So again, as we still move forward here, Alan, and thank you for moving along rapidly here. Here, I will be up front. Here are these different designs, okay, that we want to talk about on the in-person learning side. I thought I'd put a lot of content up there, but I think it's all important to try to really drill down on differences and shared understanding on these topics here that you see in bold. The hybrid that we've talked about all the way back to July when we presented our plan, and shortly thereafter, the governor made that decision at the state level to shut down the plan that all of you approved, right? And that was that hybrid design at the elementary, middle, and high school levels, whereby those students can return to that, what we call in-person learning, and it's reshaped to meet the needs of a few here: safety, but also the requirements at the state level through what's called the Stronger Together document. And ultimately, what it says is we cannot get into that design for all levels until San Bernardino County is out of the purple tier and in the red tier. Okay, spoiler alert, we're in the purple tier. We probably all know that. We'll get to that a little bit later in the other slides. But there is an elementary school waiver, and notice it doesn't say high school and middle school, and that's really the important piece I want to drive home. I think all of you here at the table, so to speak, the virtual table, understand that, but I want to make sure everyone understands the elementary school waiver is just available because the California Department of Education and the California Department of Public Health have said that's the only waiver that is available that would then return to in-person learning, that hybrid design. And that can happen when we're in the purple tier, and we'll talk more about that. But also cohorts can happen as we're in purple. At the elementary, middle school, and high school, very strict guidelines. That link there, we don't have to click on it today, but that guidance is very strict, that they're stable, that they remain pure in terms of 16 or less adults and kids working together on a regular basis, and the kids and adults don't mix outside of that for acute needs that we'll outline a little bit. And also youth sports, as you well know, can resume. We'll talk details in that regard, and very, again, stable cohorts that must occur. But we'll also give you just some quick, I'll give you the information right now. Music, elementary, middle school, and high school students can return in very strict guidelines now. That was made, we were made aware of that not too long ago, since our last, conversations about this. That can occur, again, very strict guidelines, even though, you see recommendations of certainly physical distancing has to occur. The cohorting is having to occur as well. But also even recommendations against wind instruments, even though they're allowable, there must be significant distancing to ensure the lack of transmission of that disease. So that is COVID-19. So thanks, Alan, for allowing me to spend some time on that one. And we know that there are 3 metrics. We spent a lot of time on these. I won't belabor it unless you have questions about it, but there are 3 metrics that are monitored in San Bernardino County and all counties in the state of California. It's what is been established by the California Department of Public Health for all counties, and then all school districts are subject to it based upon the county you're in, and in our case, San Bernardino County. Those 3 metrics that we're looking at: daily new cases, and I said adjusted there, but the bottom line is newly infected individuals on a daily basis, and then the positivity rate, and that's just simply the percentage of people who are tested who test positive for COVID-19. And then remember that Healthy Places Index, the HPI, we talked at the last meeting, that too is a measure of just right above the positivity rate of individuals who live in specific areas throughout the county who have a score, if you will, that is low on the Healthy Places Index countywide. It's not by district, it's countywide. And that's to ensure that we're addressing the disproportionality of health outcomes up and down throughout the state. That's a recently added metric that we're accountable to. So Alan, as we go to the next slide, what we'll see here is a familiar but newer tiered system that I alluded to already. This time, 3 columns, right? Used to be 2, it's now 3. Purple being the most widespread transmission of the disease. That's what San Bernardino County is in right now as we speak. And you can see we're in there because we have in San Bernardino County, that's the measuring stick, right? We're in San Bernardino County as a district, but we're held accountable as a county, and being in this county, that the case rate is over 7. We'll see those down in just a second. That the positivity rate in both instances for those healthy places index community tracks, as well as everybody, is above 8%. That's what keeps San Bernardino County in purple, or any other county in purple. But I want to, I've added some new slides here. Alan, thanks for going to the next one here, that I want to make certain everyone who's watching, and particularly ourselves, understand where we can get data and what it looks like. Now, people might say, hey, can you zoom in? What I really want to just share with you is just looking at the colors here, because what I like about this picture and ultimately the data, these are first and foremost are available on the San Bernardino County Department of Public Health. And what's important about this one, you can see at the very bottom, this is the CDPH monitoring page. There are about I think it's about 14 or 15 slides of data that are available when people go to this website. And just for instance, those folks who read my regular parent letter / staff email, I always have the link embedded, that hot link to this page, so that you can get directly to the 15 different measures of data. But the CDPH one, I think, is one of the important ones, because you can see whether or not where we're trending, what color the county, again, this is a county measure, San Bernardino counties, it says on the top, where they are in those 3 metrics. And just to really, I guess, drill down a little bit, I just want to bring attention to the idea of new cases. You can see on the left-hand side, that's the left-hand graph, that trend line is basically has been going up for a while, maybe leveling off over the last few days. And specifically, though, you can see it's in purple and it's a ways away from red. Whereas the next graph, we can see that is in red, the positivity rate, and then the healthy places index is kind of teetering upward, as well as being on that edge of purple and red. So they're aware that data are available. Alan, if you can just go to the next one real quickly. There's one more data from this resource that we all use, and I'd recommend anyone who's listening, if you're wondering about these data, you can access it very easily. Here are San Bernardino County data, all of the entire counties, it says on the top. You can see their case rates and all those details, where they are. They're in purple, right? You see those dials indicating we're in purple. And then, Alan, when you go to the next one, and again, just verify, you can see Snowline data. Now you can see those colors, right? Purple being most widespread, all the way down to yellow being minimal spread. We've been in all of those areas over time since these measures have been in place. Right now, you can see we're right on that edge of orange and red for this last week. These are for week by week reporting periods. Every Tuesday is when it gets updated, because that's the reporting period for the state of California. You can see snow lines in orange. Those are our data based on our case rate, but honestly, really none of the specific tier work that I talked about is linked to district data. It's just nice to be able to follow that for certain. And then, Alan, when you go to the next one, I've tried to make it a little bit easier to see the data. You can see from August 16th all the way down to most recently October 17th, when it was most updated. I know we're here 10 days later, but again, going by the data that are available, you can see those same 3 categories, right? Case rate on the left, positivity rate in the middle, and then the HPI, the healthy places index that's newly added, but we're able to go all the way back to August, and you can see where we've been in purple throughout on the left-hand side. You see we're as I look at it, we're at about 11.83 in a case rate right now. We're in red zone which is great news for the positivity rate maybe going down and staying down in red, and then still in purple is the positivity rate for healthy places index. And so people might say, hey, Ryan, so we're in red. We have to have all 3 measures be in red and then stay in red for 2 reporting periods. That's 2 weeks for us to move from purple to red. And going from purple to red allows for in-person learning, but then I will just add, right? And then for us to go back to in-person learning for all grade levels, that would be elementary school, middle school, and high school, we have to remain another 14 days. So it's really a 28-day period, beginning with being in red and staying in red. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we progress forward. So thanks, Alan, for staying on that page. And then here we are with Snowline data, just so we know how we've been doing as a district within our boundaries. I can only report to you the case rate because that's all that we get from the county. We don't get the positivity rates from the county, but we do get the case rates. You can see from August 31st, we were in purple at that time. Then we went into and stayed in red for a while, orange, yellow, went back up to purple, and then orange. And you can see next to that the weekly cases and the amounts and what causes some of those swings, as well as the number of youth cases that have been reported throughout. So hopefully that just shares with all of you where we've been as a district. And so with those data, want to drill down and spend some time here now on this next slide, and we'll talk about the in-person learning. Thanks, Alan. Those cohorts, that's where I'll start. So I talked about already, sorry, I jumped the gun there a little bit, jumped ahead, and that is a stable group of 16 kids and adults, or what cohorts can be. They're for kids who have those significant needs. They use the term acute needs. We can bring them back onto campus at all levels, regardless of the tier, right, as it says there in that content, based upon ourselves meeting the needs of kids. Right now, we've got our moderate and severe programs that are already back. We're working on more special education classes, those kids who have those significant needs, to get more of those kids back. I appreciate the hard work on that. It's not easy work. It's the right work. It's challenging work, but I'm glad we're doing the work to ensure that at all levels, we get those kids back in cohorts. And now we're doing that too, and we'll continue to work on what more cohorts can we bring back based on those greatest needs. And someone might say, well, does that mean you can bring back 100% of the kids? We cannot. That's limited to 25%. That's not our rule. Again, that's the state of California's rule. A maximum of 25% of the kids who have significant acute needs can be brought back. And again, we've just really appreciate our leaders. We've, in effect, I've challenged them with so many requests, but that request is say which kids have those needs, and let's work on those to bring them back. And we're in the process of planning those next groups beyond those special education groups to get back and meet those needs. It's not easy work, it's hard work, but again, it's the right work, and I appreciate the engagement in that, as it says down there, ongoing process for cohorts. And then school-based sports, again, Wrightwood and Toronto High School continue to be operating their programs. We haven't changed any of that since the last meeting, because I gave you the update that on the 19th that Toronto High School would be resuming conditioning for multiple sports. And it's not all sports, right? The indoor sports cannot be happening. It's outdoor sports. And again, you see that physical distance, stable cohorts has to occur, right? I appreciate all the coaches. It's not easy work. It's great to have kids back on campus in that regard. It's a challenge to reshape that design, but they're working hard and they're doing well to ensure that they're meeting those needs of the kids in that context. So I greatly appreciate that. And so not a lot of change in that one, but it's occurring, and I'm proud of that. I'm happy for the kids as well as the staff members making that occur. And then Alan, if we go to the next slide here, I appreciate you working with me. I want to spend a lot of time, a lot, but a sufficient time as is necessary on the elementary school waiver. The last time, you might remember, we came back and you were very supportive of us working with our stakeholders to determine, feasibility, move forward with that. And we've been doing that really in that last, bottom part. We've been working with those stakeholder groups. Our staff members certainly have been great to work with us. We're deepening, as it says, driving down in those conversations to get at support levels to ensure that we can make this happen. We really feel like we said last time that our recommendation is to move forward. We would still continue to say we need to move forward with that, because we feel like at the elementary school level, again, it's not middle and high school, it's not available. I just can't say that enough, because gosh, these rules, I don't blame anyone for being confused if they are. They are the rules that exist based upon the California Department of Public Health. It's just available for elementary school. But we feel like we're in a position, and we moved forward since our last meeting in October. And I just have to really, go on record here. This is really on me. We think back to the latter part of September and the data, back on September 22nd. I still remember that date. My assessment as the leader was, the data are trending down. You might remember we were in all red at that time, even though the data had changed, moving backward based on the change in rules. Probably too many details, but at the time on the 22nd, we were all in red. And my recommendation at the end of September was, let's go all together, because we can get everyone back all at one time. Well, COVID-19, as challenging as it is, then turned around. That trend line went upward. And then so at the next meeting in October, we said, you know what, let's explore the elementary school waiver. We began that exploration. And we feel like we need to continue that way, because that's our chance at the elementary school level to bring them back for academic and social emotional learning in that hybrid design. And Alan, if you go to that next page, let's give some details about what we're talking about. So in the last couple of days, thank you to Dennis Zimmerman leading this in our bargaining groups, our staff members, those representations there. We've collaborated with them, and we're getting making sure that we're informing them and and appreciate their support and moving forward and continue. We just continue to work with them, right? We'll always do that. We're a collaborative district. We're informing you tonight, but also we have to continue to survey. We surveyed the parents not too long ago, but we told you we'd be coming back, and here we go. We want to open up that survey again tomorrow night with the idea of, now that we know what we know, what do people want to do? I just think it's so important to continue to resurvey because conditions change. And when we talk about the environment that is an elementary school waiver, there are many nuances that people need to I say people, but particularly parents and guardians on behalf of their students need to share their feelings at the elementary school level. You see, we want to open that up and close it as rapidly as possible. Also build a video. That's not a typo. You see that I put 10, 20 question mark. My hope is to get that out tomorrow. Honestly, it'll probably be Thursday just because of the workload of everybody, not necessarily myself, but there's just all my colleagues are working so hard. I want to get a video out describing everything that's going on in COVID-19 we're talking about here so everyone understands these details. It's just very easy to get lost in it. And so I owe that to the community to do that, all while knowing that if we submit that waiver, we really feel like we can get that done in early November, and we come back maybe, we get that elementary school waiver as soon as possible, and really it'd come back probably, we're looking at 14, 16 days, maybe on the back end, the long end, it could be sooner. And once that comes back, hold that town hall, get the feelings of everyone, and ensure that we keep working and moving forward to try to implement that elementary school waiver to the best of our abilities. Safety, but first, of course, but also the well-being of everybody involved for the benefit of the kids. So that's what we really see as our next steps and recommendations. We just know that this is a hard environment. I appreciate the colleagues I work with, because I say going slow to go fast. We may appear to be going slow, but we're doing it, I think, the right way to ensure safety and ensure that we do it well. So Alan, thank you. You've been great. I think that last one is just one more page on there that really talks about questions. I'm certainly more than happy in this team here to answer any questions. I wouldn't be surprised if there are, because this is a challenging time, and I'd love to hear from all of you.
I'm interested about the survey on the 20th. That's going to whom?
Yeah, so survey would go to staff and parents. We really, again, like we've done, gosh, I'm really proud of our learning community on many fronts, one of which is a response to surveys. I will say this, and I've set myself up with this here, but I think you'll see where I'm going. Our last 3 surveys, every time we've broken records in terms of the participation rate. It really says a lot to me about our community. Last time at the parent level, we had almost 5,500 responses in 3 different languages. And so I just say that again, people need to have their voice heard. I think that's a powerful way. That's why that town hall's up there too. And so we see that going out ASAP, and like I said, our target would be tomorrow. Pour our efforts into that. And that's why I put that video out probably one more day to make sure we can get that done. But that's a great question there, President Behringer. And I just appreciate what people have done to date, because it's really, in terms of that response, it's informed our action. And I'm thankful for that, for sure. So that's what we're looking to do.
Well, thank you. The questions?
Yeah, I've got the questions. Regarding the waiver, is the waiver district-wide, or is it site by site for the elementary school?
Yeah, that's a great question, Member Hernandez. It is a district-wide waiver. We would have all of our elementary schools district-wide in that waiver.
And I understand that we service approximately 2,900 elementary school age students. Is that accurate?
I'm sorry I don't have that number in front of me, but yeah, that's me being very comfortable using estimated numbers. Yeah, you're in a really good area. Hey,
that
Dennis.
Was shared earlier.
Yeah, I think it was too. Dennis, I just looked at you. That's pretty darn accurate, I think, isn't it?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I thought I made notes earlier, and I thought that's the number that I heard. Now, considering the social distancing requirements, it would be absolutely impossible, if I'm correct, that all students would be able to be serviced in school, correct?
Well, when you say all students at one time, does that mean the same day? Or
All 2,900 plus elementary school students, if we had 100% of our families that said we're ready to go back to school, we would not be able to service that. Is that correct?
Yeah. So Marcus, just by definition, we'll have to go to that hybrid model. That hybrid model then is based upon the Stronger Together document from California Department of Public Health, and that would be at its maximum 50%, right? 50% kids, so 100% divided by 2, meaning half the kids would be coming. And so a class of 24 at the elementary school level becomes 12, and that's absolutely doable. Doable with not only physical distance, but what's in front of me. I don't know if it comes across on the screen here, right? Sneeze guards and masks and all the correct PPE. So it is absolutely doable in that hybrid design, which means kids would come back 2 days, maybe 3. That's what we'll all be working on, right? But it's pretty common, right? Is 2 days and maybe a day off, for online learning for everybody. And then the other cohort comes in maybe for 2 days, a design like that. So that's why I really drilled down on the 100%. That would be 50-50. And then you would add into that, Member Hernandez, and I so appreciate you bringing this up because I didn't speak to it, that we want to maintain the choice too for those parents and families who don't feel like they're ready. They would be able to still maintain remote school in the design that we can still make work. We'll make that work in some way, shape, form. We feel that's important. And so then I mean, realistically, you said it well, 50% would be the top end. But what we've seen from our data, is the fact that many people would not be coming back based upon our last 3 submissions of a survey. I think that's all the while more important why we do another one, right? Approximately what percentage of the population would not be coming back so we could best prepare. So long answer, but hopefully all that information is helpful.
Sure, no, I appreciate that. I mean, nationally, just overnight, we had an additional 62,000 cases. I mean, we are far from crushing this. And just want to reiterate to our stakeholders, to our community, please follow the rules. Let's keep each other safe, think about each other, and let's get rid of this thing so we can return to school. I think that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Member Hernandez, for saying that. Appreciate that. Appreciate the questions too, for sure.
Yeah, so if we return with elementary, will we utilize middle schools and high school, or will they just be in the buildings they're traditionally going to?
Yeah, they'd be in those buildings that they're traditionally going to. Okay. You're right. At maximum half, but again, reality shows us that we're going to have 20%, roughly speaking, which then makes an 80% 40-40, right? Okay. Might even be 70% 35-35. So then that makes it. I bring up those numbers only because I think that makes it seem a lot more doable, right? In this type of setting where right now we're more than 6 feet apart, physically distanced. So that's what will have to occur, and we'll be able to make that happen.
Perfect. So we wouldn't spill over to the other schools.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, correct.
My next question is, how quickly would we implement it if we were given the green light? Is it educationally proper to disrupt education mid-semester?
Yeah, it's such a great question. I think that the answer that I have been giving, and I still stand by, is as fast as possible and as smart as possible and as safe as possible, and with us working together with all the stakeholders. Okay. So then after we get that waiver, and just to give, some people might say, well, Ryan, give me some timelines. So I think if we were to move forward as rapidly as possible with that waiver and get that done, we're talking mid-November when that might come back. And then after mid-November, then what we navigate then is, okay, readiness. And that is making certain that our staff members can do their great work to prepare the facilities and prepare the lessons and so forth. And then measuring it against, just like you said, Member Funk, I think that's so fair, right? Mm-hmm. Is, okay, here we are mid-November with holidays coming up. We have to navigate those and determine what's best. And that's what we're working hard on. We'll continue to work hard. And I don't mean this in a cliche way, but truly together. We've got to have all of our stakeholders in on that decision. I think you ask a great question. Hopefully that, is not seen as anything but honest there. It's a great question.
And then I suppose no transportation provided.
Thanks for saying. We are going to provide transportation as long as we can, if that makes sense. And so, we have just so many great staff members across our system. Shannon Barras, our director, she's been very clear. We're gonna provide transportation as much as we can, given, as you're alluding to, right, the resources as well as the requirements. Because in buses, we have to have sufficient safety in them. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to maintain the safety. And so that dramatically decreases the numbers. all the while knowing that we only have so many buses and drivers, as does every district. Every district's in that same design. And so our commitment right now, Member Funk, is determining who needs it. Once we get approval, once we know who needs it, then we'll provide it as much as we possibly can. But you're right. There's going to be a point at which, honestly, 100%, which I would love to be back at 100%, but 100%, yeah, will be tough. But right now we're making it work, and we're going to continue to make it work as long as we can.
Okay. And so those who choose not to come back would still have the ability to have food service provided?
Oh, yes. Thank you. Absolutely. On both fronts there, right? The ones who are still staying home. So it really becomes a hybrid design in that regard too. The ones at school and the ones still at home. So I thank you for bringing that up. So people might be worried, if I stay home, do I lose my meals? No, they'll still be fine.
Great answer.
Yeah, great questions there.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Member Colomb, any questions?
I can't say that I have any. It's been covered pretty well.
Okay, thank you. I'm wondering if we've explored any ventilation changes to the classrooms.
Yeah, thanks so very much. I'm going to turn that over to Robert Chacon because he knows all the buzz terms and so forth. But the quick answer is yes. Robert, you mind sharing the work that has been done and how we've been attentive to, just everything that we have to be attentive to, but in this case, ventilation.
Yeah, thank you. Great question. I know Rick and our HVAC guys, as well as Jose, they have been working with our vendors and making sure that we are providing the best ventilation we possibly can. So we have already been using the most filtered, the most, oh man, I can't remember what the word is actually off the top of my head. But the highest density filter that we possibly can for our units. So we've been doing that since day one, providing the best possible fresh air that we possibly can for those units. If we go any tighter, then those units don't function right. We're not able to bring in enough airflow. So we have been and we continue to use the best possible filtration. And we are looking at our maintenance program. We are on a pretty good 6-month rotation with those filters. But as needed, we're gonna monitor those a little more closely, kind of moving into the future. But we've always had a really good system, and we've been using the best that we possibly can since day one.
Could I follow?
Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, is the air coming from the outside or is it recycled?
Yeah, so there's actually specific ed code rules that we have to play by when it comes to air filtration into classrooms. So we can't recirculate. That's kind of why, I don't know if you remember, we had that conversation when we were talking about those little HVAC house units, right? So they just didn't bring in enough fresh air into the classroom to meet those requirements. So most of the air that is coming in is fresh air.
Oh, that's good. Good news.
Therefore, it's not recycling.
It is not recycling, yeah.
And I'm curious about Apple Valley and Hysteria districts. They've gotten their waivers approved. Are they reopening with 50% of their elementary population?
Yeah, that's a great question. So yes, they have. They're Lucerne Valley. Remember, it was the very first one. In fact, we visited Lucerne Valley. So similar designs, right? When you talk about, I mentioned in the screen there, a hybrid design where those who say they want to come back, right, are coming back on a 2-day basis, a day off for online learning for everybody, and the other 2 days in some way, shape, form. Those days can mix up, right? But the other half come in, if you will. So very similar. They're getting ready to do that. So and same with us. We've been working on the elementary school waiver. We're going to continue to work on it if all of you, unless you all say otherwise here, but it seems like you're all very supportive of that. So really proud of the work that's been done on the waivers so far, and we'll continue to do that to, do the work that we need to for Snowline.
My greatest concern in reopening and having in-person instruction is, did we have a case of COVID? Then what?
Yeah, so there are protocols in place for that, and so and those protocols are in place not just for ourselves. We've got them at the ready, but certainly at the California level, they stipulate what has to occur. So based upon a case, there are numbers. If 5%, it's a 5, 5, and 25. If 5% of the kids in a given classroom have been subject to the outbreak, that would close down a classroom. Positive test would close down a classroom. If in fact, then 5% of the students and a school have been subject to it, then that would close down the school. And then if 25% of the schools have to be shut down, then the whole district would be shut down. So those are the numbers that, through CDPH that they have in that regard. And then the protocol itself is just like, I say just like, but just like, I use that purposely because I'm just proud of what we've done even before COVID-19. The kids are sick. We've got to support them and make sure that we take care of them. So they have symptoms, they get checked and all those processes are in place. Same for staff. Dennis, you've done a lot of great work in that regard. Anything you want to share with that, relative to, the protocols that I just mentioned?
No, we will be bound to the safety protocols that are put out there, and they are tight and strict protocols in terms of reaction, contact tracing, quarantine, very, very specific things that we will have to and will choose to abide by for the safety of everybody.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a additional.
Member Hernandez?
In terms of, you're speaking mid-November, that a waiver, if approved, will come through. That's a matter of about 3 weeks from now. In preparation for that and be able to launch that, are the classrooms now being prepared and readied for that waiver, or are you waiting closer to that timeline to prepare the classes with the dividers, as you've said? And then also, what of staffing with the teachers? Are they lined up? Do we know any shortfalls that we may have in staff that have additional needs or concerns that they are unable to return to class at this time?
Yeah, thanks, Member Hernandez. So I think maybe 3 parts. To the first 2 parts, I'd say both and in that regard. Are they being prepared now, or will they be, as after the waiver? So yes, to being prepared now on the, we just heard from Robert Chacon on the filtration and things of that sort, right? That these have been purchased and ready. But then also teachers, as we move forward, we're obviously going to have to give the time to ensure that they're at that ready. And Dennis can speak to that in just a second, and even probably speak to the third piece too when we talk about the staffing, because you bring up a wonderful point that based upon here's where I think the survey is important. How many are coming back? That will start to determine that planning. Dennis, I know you've done some great work in this regard. I've just talked the big picture. Any details you'd like to add to that?
I guess the details I'd like to add is there are details yet to add. In that we don't know how many students would be coming back. So we don't yet know how many teachers we need to address ongoing remote learning versus in-person elementary learning. And so we'll be obtaining that data as we go along in order to make those plans. I do know, Apple Valley, they ended up, being able to accommodate all of their teachers with medical concerns for their own personal medical to be able to teach remotely, and then had to reach out to additional teachers who were planning to teach in person to look for additional remote teachers. So they were able to meet a few other needs outside of the personal medical concerns. As they look forward to starting with kindergarten next week, and I think 1st through 3rd grade on November 9 and 4th through 6th grade on November 16.
Yeah, thanks, Dennis. I appreciate that.
Thank you. I guess that then, I guess that leads to a question of the planning of classrooms and the hybrid models. Presume that we are teaching in person separate from the remote school, or would the same teacher essentially do a simulcast of in class and remote at the same time?
Yeah, Member Hernandez, that's a maybe, in all of them, right? That's the devil in the details. I mean, honestly, not trying to avoid that, but that's where it's just so important that we work with our stakeholders, in this case, our staff members. I don't purport to know, what's best. It's really, we know best. I think, the collective. And while we've had some initial, not even just initial, mini conversations. There will be changes. I think I can almost guarantee there will be changes, right? There could be, and now here's not the will, that could be changes in the daily, the daily schedule, to accommodate this. The daily schedule that exists now may look different at the elementary school level based upon what the principals and staff members, they work together to determine how we can do both, because you said it well, both still have to occur. I'm proud that we're going to offer both. We need to, right? But just a very simple, and that's what, again, you're very astute, and all of you board members are astute, but I also can appreciate people on the outside that just don't know all the detail. It's not as easy as just flipping a switch and going, here we go, right? It's going to require a lot of work to ensure that first and foremost safety, but also that schedules work and we can make it work for everybody in those two different designs. I know we'll do it, and other districts have done it. We'll do it well, and I think we always do it the best, selfishly, but we're still working on those details for sure.
Yes, I trust we'll do it the best, because I know our teachers and I know our administration is second to none right now. I guess in that question is my concern that kind of leaning on Member Funk's idea that is it appropriate to go into this hybrid model 3/4 of the way through the semester, in that you have a class of 25, 30 students, whatever it may be in elementary school, and you have a teacher teaching that group, to split them and to reassign that student to another teacher, or the students going in person to reassign them a different teacher in person. Disruptive, it's perhaps a bit unfortunate, and probably a lot of what we have to go through, but that is where the concern stems from, the continuity of education, I suppose, for the student, as well as the teacher. The teacher has built a great relationship with the students, and I'm concerned, and I don't want to jeopardize that as much as we can moving forward. And I know that it is a difficult answer, longer than I'm even speaking now, but one that I trust your team and the teachers can accomplish. But I just want to put that.
Yeah, Member Hernandez, I so appreciate your thoughtful comment there, right? Not even a question, but a thoughtful comment. So appreciate it. I think it all resonates for us. And I would, in my, UCSD, I referenced that, my undergraduate work in economics, I think applies here. It's a cost benefit analysis, right? Weighing the cost, and that's not a monetary cost, right? It's the cost of everything you just mentioned against the benefits, right? In all cases, and for the kids who are going to stay home and for the kids who are coming. And I think your point's well taken, and it is a hard one. And I'm not avoiding the question on start date right now, only because of just what you said, for all those reasons. And I want to work with the stakeholders. I'm proud that we're in a collaborative district and work with the stakeholders to find out where everyone is to make that best decision. And we've done that before. We are doing it now, and we're going to keep doing it unless you think otherwise. But you hit the nail on the head. That's a challenge, but we're going to meet it, and we're going to do it the right way for sure.
Yes, sir. Rough one. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so there being no further discussion, thank you very much. For the
you're certainly welcome. Thank you for allowing us. Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate the update, and I hope that the word spreads and everybody's able to stay informed. That then takes us to board member comments, of which I have none. Member Funk?
Yeah, this is my last one, correct?
No. Luckily, we've got you for November. Is that well? And we're
ready about it.
To go on record, we have you for December too for the beginning parts. So
Okay.
We're glad to hear, because we just loved your contributions for sure.
You just saved yourself about 40 minutes. So. I think then I'm just going to skip to what I think needs to be said is reflecting the public comments from earlier from the student. You're not alone. Things are harder right now. They are harder for everybody. Teachers are doing the best they can to educate you. Administrators are doing the best they can to get you the information. Your fellow students are suffering as well. And so don't take that anxiety on your own. Reach out to others. I think it was brave for her to speak up and say that things are hard, and I commend her for reaching out. I have a sophomore in my own home, and he said the same thing. I want to keep up because the work is important, but it's harder right now. And I don't think that any of our students are afraid of hard work. They just want to make sure that they're staying on top of the work that's presented to them. And I want the teachers to know, we know that it's hard for you too. This is a new design. This is a new world. This isn't how we were built to educate. And I commend them for reaching out and embracing the new way to do things and having thought first. On that said, listening to the doctor for the San Bernardino and the Riverside County school district spoke last night, and he talked about checking your health, and he likened it to being on an airplane. I don't remember if he talked about this. He said, you got to take care of yourself first. And he talked about if you're on a plane and when you listen to the stewardess talk about the air mask dropping down, you're to put the air mask on your mouth first, so that you can treat your child or who you're with. And it was important for me to hear that, to realize that as a teacher and as a parent right now, remember to take care of yourself. That is the best way you can take care of these students. So I ask you to heed that advice. And then my quote for the night, I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to quote the Wrightwood Elementary school board billboard. It says, "In a world where you can be anything, be kind." We've got an election coming up. Doesn't matter. You can still be kind. All right. More to come at a later date then. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Member Hernandez.
Thank you, Madam President. Only one comment tonight regarding remote school and recent developments that I've watched with my child and the Kagan practices I'm seeing. I don't know if it's a new addition, but the classes are now breaking out into small groups for discussion, and her engagement has increased significantly. And I think her enjoyment is increasing. The remote school is hard, as everybody has said, but the opportunity for these kids to interact with each other is really bringing out something special right now. And I believe that is the Kagan practices of getting those kids to engage each other. The teacher pops in every once in a while, checks in on their discussion, and then brings them back into the full classroom. And I thought, what a fabulous use of technology and teaching practices that's really benefiting. And I hope that's much more widespread than what I'm seeing right now, because it's great stuff. So really happy to see the evolution of what remote school is. And again, reaching out, like you said, Member Fonte, students that are feeling just a little bit overwhelmed right now, hang in there. We're there with you. Reach out, let's talk, and lean on your peers, lean on your families. We're in this together. Thank you.
Well, I'm so glad to hear that those Kagan structures are proving fruitful. I know that I participated in that update, that Kagan reboot, and it was a lot of fun. And I got to experience firsthand how engaging that is. And so I'm glad to hear that she's experiencing a positive benefit from that. Member Colomb, your comments?
No comments tonight.
Okay, that takes us then to administrative comments. Mr. Miller?
Yes, thank you, President Berenger. And real quickly, thank you, Member Hernandez, for your comments about Kagan. Just in case you weren't aware, we recently had a kind of a Kagan booster shot with just over 100 members of our certificated staff that participated on their own accord. It was all voluntary, and I'm glad to hear that it's taken off, and that's something that we plan on pursuing and gaining more momentum in the future. And I just happened to have just gotten a thank you note from one of the presenters, who was Jackie Miner. She and her husband did the two respective sessions of Kagan. So thank you for mentioning that. And I'll certainly pass that on to the folks. And going on to my comments real quick, just Wanted to give some major kudos to all of our team that have been performing the IEP testing for students, the LPAC testing for students. Of course, those are two specific student groups that really need those extra layers of support, both academically and emotionally, to help them be successful in school. So wanted to thank our teams for doing that so professionally and so safely in the benefit of the students. Just want to say I missed all of you the last time that we had a board meeting. Thank you for understanding. I had the opportunity to take a couple of vacation days with my wife and go up to the Central Coast. So I missed you, but I did catch part of the recording while I was up in Cambria. So it looked like you had a good board meeting. Just want to say how wonderful it is to have students back on campus. A number of our campuses, Pinion Hills Elementary, Vista Verde Elementary School, Heritage, and Serrano High School. It's just so great, and kind of alluding to what Member Funk said, that's what we're made for. We're made for educating students on campus. So it's great to see, and it's what I believe is the light at the beginning of the end of the tunnel there. So, and then going on to our community and to all of the people within Snowline. We've got a big election coming up with candidates and initiatives that are on the ballot. Get out there and exercise your right to vote. It really is a cherished right. And then although we're not perfect as a nation, we still are the greatest nation in the world with freedoms and opportunities that are coveted by millions across the globe. So, take that right seriously and get out to those polling places if you have not submitted a ballot via mail. I want to thank all the veterans that are in our school district and in our community. We have Veterans Day coming up on November 11th, and prior to our next board meeting. So I just wanted to thank everybody that has served for their service. And just wanted to wish them a very, very happy Veterans Day when that day does occur in a couple of weeks. And going on to my next bullet, and really my final bullet here, just also kind of piggybacking off of what Member Funk was saying earlier, we must be on the same wavelength this evening. But my heart has been weighing very heavily for every one of our students in our district. And I'd like to direct just a few messages just directly to them. A lot of you are struggling, both academically and or socially, emotionally. And we know that. And as Member Funk said earlier, by no means are any of you alone. We know it's tough. I also have a child in the district that is feeling the strain and the unhappiness during this time period. But just we will get through it. And none of this, being the COVID-19 and the schools being closed for so long, is your fault. So don't let that weigh on you that you have anything, any responsibility in what's happening. It's just the way it is right now. Of course, your families are out there to support you. We know that you have loving homes, but we're here to support you as well. So by all means, reach out. There are teachers, principals, other staff members on campus, and so many other individuals in this district that you can feel free to reach out to. And I just want to give every one of our students and their families just an open door, a direct invitation to reach out to my department, Student Learning and Support Services. We're here for you. If you have any needs at all and just don't know where to go, we're glad to be that point of contact to help direct you to what you need to hopefully ease the burden during this very difficult time. And I just want to say lastly, I, like many of my colleagues and folks across the district, can promise you that things are going to get a lot better. We don't know how long this season is going to take to get through, but it is going to get a lot better. So take heart in that, be happy, smile, and once again, we're here for you. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Mr. Zimmerman?
Thank you, President Behringer. I just want to say how thankful I am to work with our incredible staff that really does choose to work for Snowline to do their best for students. And our classified staff that does all the behind the scenes heavy lifting and work so that our certificated staff can work directly with students. And we are just very blessed by an amazing, amazing group of people and team, and that care so much. And as Mr. Miller said, students, please reach out to one of the 1,000 of us for help if you are struggling and don't have support elsewhere. Please do, and we will, we'll get you connected in the right way, in the right place for that help. Member Hernandez, you'd asked a question, I think, in your board member comments, or maybe in the board item 2 weeks ago about the Inland Personnel Council 3-year agreement. And they had a sentence in there about boardsmanship and supporting that in Riverside and San Bernardino counties. I did some follow-up on that, and the Inland Personnel Council works with the San Bernardino County School Boards Association to plan a few boardsmanship workshops each year. The ones they're doing currently are being done remotely, and San Bernardino County Schools Office is under the impression that when they have workshops, they send out a notification to all the school board members in the county. So I hope that's going on. But if not, reach back out to me, Mr. Hernandez, and I'll do a little more digging and see what I can find out.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I have not seen any notifications, but I'll be on the lookout. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And then, Mr. Funk, I know is we found out going to be with us, we've known just a little while longer as his seat that he sits in expires coming up here. But I just love the fact that he put into play kind of the comment quote. So I've wanted to take that on myself. So I've got a quote or two quotes from probably, the most important teacher I've had in my life, teacher that's been, teaching me for 29 going on 30 years. His name's Tom Mercer, and two quotes just recently that just stuck with me are, while some focus on the problem, others focus on the purpose. And I know that's what we are trying to do, is focus on our purpose in spite of the problem. And then the other one that is just so pithy, I love, 7 words, be great for a t-shirt. Common sense is the new brilliance. And we need to exercise common sense as well. So thank you, Tom Mercer, for that insight and your teaching.
Thank you very much for your comments. Mr. Chacon.
Yeah, thanks, President Behringer. Just real quick, just wanted to let everybody know we are giving our lunch and meal service a revamp. So we will have a new service for you guys starting on Monday, November 2nd. We'll be serving Monday through Friday, 11:30 to 1 o'clock at all of the same locations. We now will be serving a hot meal for lunch. So you'll receive a hot lunch, you'll receive a supper, and then breakfast for the following morning. And then on Fridays, if you join us on Fridays for meal service, you will also receive meals for Saturday and Sunday. So make sure to swing by all of our participating locations and pick up your nutritious Snowline meal. Go ahead.
Bob, does that still include the meals for any child in the district, or is it just students?
Anybody 18 and under.
Excellent news. Thank you for that. That takes us to Ms. Steph.
Thank you, President Behringer. I have just a couple of quick things. One is I loved the student presentation. It was great. It was absolutely fabulous. I'm so very proud of all of those students and what they've accomplished. What a great accomplishment. And I just wish you all the very best. And to Dr. Holman for working with the team and coming up with the idea of a superintendent's honor roll to add to their college applications. And just to give an update on Care Solace, We will be having a training this Friday with our crisis team again to get some updates on a new, it's called Care Loop, which is it's a dashboard where they will be able to see really quickly what has happened with those families or students that they have reached out to Care Solace for. Also, I received some feedback from a few of the counselors who just said that they are grateful for the service. It has been just a great asset to helping students at this time. And also then we have scheduled for Monday, November 9th with all of the principals and directors who attend Leadership Council. We will be having a 30-minute training for them as well so that they can also have that knowledge for students, their employees. They won't have the same access that counselors and school psychs and stuff do, but they will learn about it and know what options are out there for students who are struggling. And I also would like to add that honestly, their service just keeps getting better. They have added a staff member to their team that will work with our crisis team, who was a support services director at a school district. I want to say Palo Alto. I could be wrong, but I think I'm correct. And I had a meeting with her and one of their directors. It was just great. So I think that she'll be a great asset as well to our crisis team in having that school experience.
Thank you.
So that's it for me. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that. Dr. Holman, your comments?
Yeah, thanks, President Behringer. Thank you, Nancy Staff, for all your great messages there. I really want to capitalize on what you talked about, and that is on the Care Solace piece. I was in a meeting today at Serrano High School. Dr. Willie Jones with numerous staff members held a parent meeting, a remote one, and it was focused on mental health. Cheyenne Tatum, too, was there, a social worker, and it's just great things being shared with those who were able to attend. And so, again, thank you for mentioning all that you did. Know, everyone, that there are resources out there. That mental health piece is, mental health is good health, right? Overall health contributes to that immensely. So thank you for that for certain. I want to also reinforce, I think it was Alan Miller was talking about polling places. We originally thought we'd be able to have 3 like we traditionally do. And San Bernardino County Registrar of Voters made the change, not us. Made the change and just has 1 polling place available. I put that out there in my letters before. I want to put that out there again, and it's at Vista Verde Elementary School. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't polling places around here, but just traditionally, we've had 3 of our schools, Baldy, Mesa, Pinion Hills, and Vista Verde used. But San Bernardino County, the San Bernardino County Registrar of Voters made that change, and it's only at Vista Verde within our school facilities. But please, if you have any questions about voting, I really agree with Alan Miller. Get out there and vote. Just simply log on to the San Bernardino County Registrar of Voters, and very easily you can find where your polling locations are. And again, if you don't read my parent letters, I wouldn't blame you, right? But in those parent letters, I put that in those that hot link in there numerous times too, and I'll look to do that again as well. I'm sorry, Nancy, did I miss something?
I was just going to say there's only one. If you look under Phelan, the only availability it shows is the Calvary Chapel, because Vista Verde is listed in the Victorville area.
Yeah, it sure is in our boundaries, but it is in the city of Victorville. You're exactly right. But just want to make sure everyone knew about that piece there. So thank you, Nancy, for that as well. New teacher workshop happened today too. And that's just, again, credit to Charlotte Eckenroth, Ashley Alvarado, and all the individuals who support our new teachers, new to the district, and maybe even new to teaching in general. And just great things are happening. I really appreciate their impact. Theirs being those who are providing that training for those new teachers, as well as those new teachers. Again, we're only a new teacher one time, and boy, I think every teacher and knows out there how impactful that first year can be on kids. And so we appreciate the good work going on there. Member Funk, thanks for your quote relative to kindness. That was actually on one of our staff shirts, as you well know. It's a great one, and I love that one. It reminds me of November 13th, Friday the 13th. Boy, that's going to be a great day because that's World Kindness Day. I want to give a quick shout out to Jerry Schlosser and Tracy Wilson for the third year in a row. They're just two wonderful employees, but also they're wonderful leaders because they're leading that cause with our site leaders. And we've got some new additions to that process. Looking forward to that effort. It just is, again, we're a kindness certified district. And boy, what a great opportunity for us to do what is so needed in these times, as you mentioned, Member Funk, right? Kindness is always needed more than ever. So look forward to participating in that effort and looking for great things happening throughout that whole week, culminating with Friday the 13th, World Kindness Day. Boy, how do we not celebrate that? We're looking forward to that for certain. And then, I'll end, I think, tonight here by just saying, I just really appreciate our learning community. And when I use that term in my letters and communications, I see the learning community as all those who are connected to our school system, right? From board members to staff members, of course, to our parents and guardians and families, to the community members who support our efforts, and most importantly, all in service of our students. When I talk about that learning community, again, I'll focus on the elementary school waiver as an example. We appreciate all of you at the board level supporting that, the staff members working together with us, as well as our parents to make sure that we do right by our students and we do it the right way. I understand that that's rolling out at all different times, and so I'll bring attention to the survey. This next survey that's going to come is going to be specific to the elementary school waiver because that's what we need the feedback on. And so those of you parents who have middle school and high school kids and feel left out on that survey, that's not the intention. It's to get the particular information we need so that we can represent our stakeholders the right way in service of our kids. And that brings us back to our kids. Boy, those 10 students were superb, but I'm telling you, all basically just south of 8,000 kids when we count our preschool kids all the way up to our adult school kids are outstanding. And it's really what we're here for. So I thank everyone for hanging in there. I talk a lot about going slow to go fast, but what's implied in going slow to go fast is go slow to go fast to do it right and do it the best way. And so I appreciate everyone being patient in service of our students. Thanks, President Berenger.
Thank you very much for your comment. That then takes us to entertaining a motion for adjournment.
I'll motion that we adjourn the meeting.
And a second?
I'll second.
And roll call vote, beginning with Member Hernandez.
Aye.
Member Colomb.
Aye.
Member Funk.
Aye.
And Christina Berenger votes aye. We are adjourned.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.
Night.
Night.
Thanks, Nance.